acknowledge a good friend of mine who is no longer with us, but his daughter's a really, really, really great person, family steward. And she was with us last year, and there was an award presented to her father for his advocacy. It was called the General Advocacy Award. I sit up at night and think of these titles. The old Siri over there just hits me, man. Yeah. So I thought, I said, Jesse F. Taylor, Jesse F. Taylor. Okay, so this year we had a very, very outstanding gentleman that was nominated for that award, the General Advocacy Award. I said, well, Chris, we got to do something about that. I said, Jesse F. Taylor left an impression on this community. He was a community builder.
That's right.
A lot of you don't know. A lot of times he walked in the shadow of a lot of great people. But without him, a lot of stuff that you were familiar with would not have occurred. So we said we need to honor him in a more significant way, the little that we can do. So we wanted to name this award after Jesse F. Taylor. So now it's called the Jesse F. Taylor Advocacy Award. So will you join me in saluting that family, the Jesse Taylor family? Let's stand up real quick. All right, let's stand up. Good people. All good people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You all give him a hand for that. This is what it is. An acknowledgement of your steadfast commitment towards being a voice in the grassroots community. All right? You know? Unselfishly pursuing a better life on behalf of the often voiceless. That's almost an impossible dream. That song you heard a few minutes ago. Walter, it gives me great pleasure to present you with this award.
During my 8 years here in Des Moines, I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of wonderful people, and I did get a chance to meet and work with Mr. Jesse Taylor. I met him. There was a housing issue going on in Des Moines, and the City Hall was hot. And Mr. Taylor and I happened to meet in the hallway, and one of the things that he did was always give me some advice, and he always gave me a lot of encouragement. And as I was thinking about Mr. Taylor, it made me think of a statement by Maya Angelou, and you guys probably have heard this before. She says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And Mr. Taylor made me feel wanted, he made me feel welcome, he made me feel special. Over 38 years, I've had the pleasure of working in the state of Iowa. I worked all across the state of Iowa and across the country. And Gary is absolutely right. In civil rights, you don't oftentimes have people say thank you. It's a thankless job. But I spent quite a bit of my time as a civil rights director, same position that Rudy Sims had that he holds right now. And but I was just real pleased to do it because one of the things I've always wanted to do was be a servant. I had the pleasure of, back when I was a little kid, singing for Dr. Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy and all of those people. I was a tenor back in those days, and I played the bass guitar. And they would come to Iowa, and they would want and request our choir to sing for them. So I sang for Dr. King and Ralph in Iowa, and I sang for him in Indiana. And it was just a pleasure to be around them. I had cut my teeth as an advocate working for SCLC in Davenport, Iowa, with Chuck Tony and those guys down there in Davenport. And one of the things King said, and I believe this, and it kind of sums up my service. And he says, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verbs agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. And that pretty much sums up what I've done, regardless of what's happened to me over time. I just want to be a good servant. And before I sit down, I have to do this. One of the things that happens, I've been married over 30 years to the same lady. She needed prayer for me. And she and I have 7 children. 5 of them have a college degree. And over those 30 years, I spent countless hours away, but she held the house down. So she's the real shero in the family. And I just want to say that before I sit down, any civil rights person has to have a strong person behind them. And so while I was out doing what I needed to do, she held the house down, and she has a pretty interesting career of her own as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge her before I sat down. Thank you very much.